This is James Holder for IFL TV in association with Macklins Gym. With me, I've got former undisputed cruiserweight king and former WBA world champion, the Haymaker, David Haye. What's happening? You alright?
I'm not bad. I'm not bad at all. Things are going nice. Did a little training session earlier with Shane. Did one yesterday. You know, had a nice little 8 days in the Caribbean, which was lovely. Yes. You know, it let me know what I'm doing all this stuff for. You know, it's nice to treat yourself. You know, I've been working hard with Shane in the gym. It's nice to get away from him for a little while though. A bit of sun on my back, you know, some lovely views, some crashing waves. But it's time to go back to work now, and it's work time.
Good performance for your first fight back, wiping out Mark de Moray in the way you did.
Why did you say Mark de Moray? You put are you the only person I know who sticks to de Moray on the end of it?
I think I've done him a favour.
Yeah, it makes him sound a little bit more exotic, doesn't
it? Doesn't it?
It is panache for sure.
Obviously, as we spoke about at the press conference, great way you took him out. Sort of.
That's how you deal with that type of opponent. A lot of other fighters set traps, and when you set the trap, you make them pay. You know, give me a lazy jab or give me a jab that I can see, I'm going to punish you. And the first opportunity I got, the first mistake he made, he paid for it and paid for it pretty heavily. You know, unconscious for 5 minutes, needing oxygen and whatnot. I don't mess around. When Shane, we've been working hard on punishing heavyweights, punishing them, not with one punch. No, we're putting clusters of punches together, clean, crisp punches together. Chuck a lazy jab at me, chuck any type of jab at me, I can see it. Vladimir Klitschko could barely hit me with a jab, and these guys nowadays, I'm not feeling the speed. I'm not feeling the speed. The speed isn't a fear for me whatsoever. So with that being the case, it gives me plenty of opportunity to punish shots.
Indeed, you're back May 21st for Heyday 2.
May 21st at the O2 Arena.
The rumour was very high in terms of who will you fight.
I like the rumour mill. Yeah, I'm not going to confirm nor deny anyone at the moment.
So if I mentioned a few names, you wouldn't at all, like just sort of.
No, so I can tell you a couple of who it is not going to be.
Please do.
It was DILLIAN WHYTE, for instance.
Okay. Potential opponent in the future?
In the future, for sure. You know, he showed a lot of heart against Anthony Joshua. If he can get back on the winning run, win a couple fights against... That was the first time he... Who has DILLIAN WHYTE for? Has he fought anyone? He fought any names that you know?
Best win probably before that is probably Nascimento.
Okay, I've never heard Nascimento, so there you go. So... get a couple named opponents, wins, because he showed he's got heart, you know, he's got a punch, he's got all the attributes you need. He could take a shot as well. He took some big shots. The only shot that took him out was one he didn't see. He could take anybody out. So he showed he's got the ingredients to do it. Let's hope his shoulder heals up. He had a similar shoulder injury to myself. I'm not sure exactly what he had, but it took me 1.5 years before my shoulder's right. He's talking about getting back in the ring this year.
Would you advise him maybe not to?
I don't know. I don't know his injury. If his injury is not as bad as mine, then yeah. If his doctors suggest he can do it, and if he can punch, I wish him nothing but a speedy recovery and get in there, get a couple of big wins under his belt, and you know he could be up there. That's if not I'm not too far down the line, but you never know.
We've had DILLIAN WHYTE on the channel quite a lot recently. Yeah. A couple of his videos have gone viral involving Stormzy. They've literally blown up. Everyone's stolen me videos. They're always doing. It's gone worldwide.
That's good. That's good. You know, you need characters. Yeah, you need characters in boxing. You know, I know Dylan. I've known him for a long time. I haven't chatted to him recently, but he's a nice guy. He's a good guy. He's a good fighter. You know, I've done some sparring with him down here. He always gave a great account of himself, always very respectful. The fact that he generated as much interest and hype for the Anthony Joshua fight suggests he's got personality. He's got that same type of not same personality, but he's got a personality like a Tyson Fury, where you know he's that Marmite, love him or hate him. More people probably hate him, but he doesn't care. As long as people are tuning in to watch him fight, that's money in his pocket. You know, that's pay-per-view sales in his back pocket. So. You know, I understand the vibe he's coming from, and it works. You know, he really did get everybody excited for the fight against Joshua. And without him, I don't think that fight would have been nowhere near as exciting as it was. You know, you could have got an American in or someone who no one's ever heard of, and it wouldn't have had the same spice that fight had. That fight was a real, true grudge match, and I think it seems like whoever. Dylan fights is going to be a grudge match because he doesn't take no foolishness, which is nice to see. And you know, I think a fight between him and Chisora one day.
Just going to come to this. Do you think that's got any meat to it? And
I think I'm not sure who people would be cheering for, to be honest. But you know, people it'd be like, who's the baddest man in British boxing? Both of them have got big reputations. Both of them are solid fighters. Both of them are similar type of build. That might make it interesting. That'd be an interesting fight to see. I'd watch that fight. Would you watch that fight?
I would watch it.
Yeah, exactly. So they could both.
I'd like to cover the build-up.
Yeah, but yeah. The build. Listen, they'd have to do that same steel cage thing that they did between me and Chisora at the time. So
visually, I still that day when you mentioned that visually that cage, it was fantastic.
Yeah.
It's incredible what a £10 fence can do.
Oh, no, it's amazing. It really did make it feel like some steel cage match from the WWE wrestling. The good old days of Royal Rumble. Remember that?
Last but not least, I want to talk a little bit about Glasgow, obviously suffering defeat the way he did to Prince Charles. Prince Charles now the champion. Yeah. Potential opponent for yourself.
I haven't seen it. I didn't see it. I never heard of Glasgow or Charles Martin prior to that fight being announced. Since it's been announced, you know, I've heard Martin's name being chucked around a bit. It seems like everybody wants to fight him. Everybody wants to fight Charles Martin. He's the most in-demand heavyweight on the planet. Big southpaw, right? Big southpaw. I've never seen him, so I can't really make too much comment about if he's good or bad. But he must be good if he's undefeated, right? He's undefeated, big, tall southpaw. You know, good luck to him. He's the IBF champion. Who's he fighting next? I reckon he'll fight. Looking in my crystal ball, I reckon Deontay Wilder has a unification fight with him.
Two big Americans, first time.
Two big Americans.
First two to hold the belt since Shannon.
Then you've got the unified heavyweight champion in America. What's happening with Tyson Fury's WBA? Because he was the WBA super champion. You've got the WBA
doing some kind of tournament, basically. So Russian Chagaev will now fight Lucas Brown,
who then has to fight Fraser. Who has to fight Fraser Quendo?
He does, and how Fraser Quendo got a blind to the semi-final.
I think he had a rematch with the first time with Chagaev.
But I think Luis Ortiz is somewhere involved.
Yeah,
I don't know what sort of the story is.
Ortiz has to fight Tyson Fury, who the winner of Fury and Klitschko.
But wouldn't you think after Fury's beaten the sort of linear champion, if you like, and become the unified champion, that the other belts become a little bit irrelevant? Do you know what I mean?
You'd think so, but this is boxing. You need about 17 different champions in each weight class. You've got a champion emeritus, you've got an interim champion, a gold champion, a silver champion, a super champion, a regular champion. There's a million different champions out there, but you know.
I suppose you're not moaning if you're holding them belts.
If you're holding, if you've got the KFC championship, you're holding it up. You know, I'm the KFC champion of the world. You get it. You know, boxing is a strange sport, but as long as you're fighting people that people want you to fight. For instance, if I was to fight the IBF champion right now, how big would that fight be? No one's ever heard of it. I am a professional boxer, a heavyweight boxer, who's interested in heavyweight boxing, and up until his fight was announced, I'd never heard of him, ever. So how big is that? You know, although it's got a title connected to it, who did he beat for that title? Someone else I'd never heard of before. So it's, you know, do you go for that, or do you go? But Deontay Wilder, okay, he's got some status. You know, he's knocked out nearly all his opponents.
Last fight was entertaining, wasn't it, against Speaker? Did you watch it?
I watched the highlights of it, and I don't know why everyone was moaning about that. He did what he needed to do. He went out there and knocked the guy clean out. He was fighting a tricky southpaw. As he thought even.
Tough guy, Speaker, very underrated.
Listen. The bits that I saw, that guy weren't no mug. The guy came to win. He had a solid game plan, had to go, but got stretched out. Proper stretched out.
I'd like to see him against some Brits though. I think he'd be a good test.
Who's that?
Speaker, I think he's a good fighter.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it seems that's a bad knockout though. That he needs a little while to get over that one.
Last but not least, I want to touch on, obviously, you've been the poster boy for British boxing for many moons. In your absence, in your exodus, if you like,
in my exodus,
Anthony Joshua's come to the sort of.
He's taken over.
I wouldn't say the forefront because you've got Tyson Fury, but he's become sort of a
poster.
Listen.
You got two. Listen, if you go and ask the general public, who would you like a poster of in your gym? A poster of Tyson Fury or a poster of Anthony Joshua? I know exactly. I know which one's getting sold and I know which one's not getting sold. So no, he has in my 3.5 year.
Hiatus.
People keep saying hiatus. No, I've never heard the word hiatus said so much around this time of my. Anyway, yeah. Since that time, he's won the Olympics, got gold medal at Olympics. I think he might have got the silver at the World Championships as well. And he's had his whole professional career in the time I've been out. Now I've come back. I'm like, hey guys, I'm back now. Watch watch what I can do. Remember this? And I think the fight at the O2 Arena the other night against Mark Demori let people know the Haymaker's back.
Can we see it in 2016? Yes or no? In your honest opinion.
What's that mean?
You v Anthony Joshua.
I hope so. I wish. You probably won't. To be honest. If everybody's just into making the biggest possible fights, then yes. But it's not about me wanting it. I'm a professional boxer. I call myself an open class heavyweight, meaning I'm a former world champion at cruiserweight, former world heavyweight champion. There's nobody really. I'm not ready to fight yet. Whereas he is ranked higher than me in all of the governing bodies, but he doesn't feel he's ready for me just yet. But he's ranked higher than me in the world. I'm ranked number 9. I think that's the best of my ranking. He's ranked number 2, I think, with the IBF and 1 by the WBC. So how can you be ranked that high and still not be ready to fight someone who's ranked number 9? You know, surely you should want to clear up the British scene first before moving to world level. But maybe you're not as confident of winning that fight, so you'd rather lose for a world title than come back to this level. I get that mentality, but I think he's cut from a different cloth to myself. You know, when I was coming through, I truly in my heart believed I was the best fighter on the planet. Since my first professional fight, I thought I'm the best out there, no one can touch me. I was wrong. I fought a guy called Carl Thompson, got it wrong and lost. But since that loss, things went great. I needed that loss to let me know what boxing's really about, let me know how tough boxing really is. And it allowed me to then move on and become, so after that fight, 8 fights later, I'm the undisputed cruiserweight champion of the world. After everyone wrote me up, oh, he lost to Carl Thompson, oh, he's finished, he's all flash, no substance, blah, blah, blah. Silenced as the critics, had a couple of fights, and that was a European champion, 3 defences, world title fight, unified it, done. That's the type of fight I am. Maybe, I'm not sure if he wants to go down that's a tough route to take, the one that I took. You know, in my 9th fight, I fought, I think it was 9th or 10th fight, I fought a former world champion, Arthur King Williams. So they're the sort of fights, they're the type of fights I'd want to take. I'm a former world champion as well. Here you go, you could fight me. But, you know, I get it. I'm sure everywhere he goes, walks down the street, people are saying, why don't you fight David Haye, fight David Haye, fight David Haye. I get it. He's had 15 fights. He needs, in his opinion, and maybe his team's opinion, a little bit more world-class experience. But who can give him world-class? Who can he fight that's going to prepare him to fight me? Who could he possibly fight? You know, DILLIAN WHYTE couldn't be any further from my style. You know, DILLIAN WHYTE comes in hands high, just winging big punches. I'm very accurate. If you miss one jab, I'm hitting you with a left hook or a right hand. I don't know to prepare to fight me, he's going to have to get knocked out by somebody, and that's kind of goes against the whole thing about staying unbeaten. People worry too much about staying unbeaten. That's what I think the problem with boxing is today. People want to have the whole career unbeaten. Not everyone's Mayweather. Mayweather's been doing it since a little kid. Joshua started boxing when I was already heavyweight champion. I was heavyweight champion before he'd even started boxing. So he can't be that guy. He can't be that guy who stays unbeaten the whole time. He's going to learn. He's going to have to lose at some stage to learn. He can't learn from fighting guys that he can knock over in 1 or 2 rounds. You know, he should have knocked out DILLIAN WHYTE in a couple of rounds, but he doesn't have the finishing skills. He had DILLIAN WHYTE gone. He should have been able to put 5 or 6 shots together on the button and close the show, but he hasn't learned that yet. I don't know who's going to learn from.
Can you learn that finishing, that type of brutal instinct finishing, or is it something
I don't know. You have to do it in sparring. You have to spar. You'd have to spar hard. I sparred hard rounds. I get, you know, my sparring partners: John Tay Wilder, Mariusz Vach, Alexander Dimitrenko. You know, we had some good young amateur guys coming at me. I had these 2 rounds of Wilder, 2 rounds of Vach, 2 rounds. They're the rounds I get. They're the rounds I get in sparring. That's why I'm as good as I am, because I've surrounded myself with good, young, hungry fighters. I'm not sure who he trains with, but he needs to, I don't know what he needs to do. He needs to fight. He needs to fight people who are going to test him and push him. But the risk in doing that is you might lose, and that the whole team around him don't want him to lose. I understand that he's in a real tough. But I do actually, all jokes aside, I do actually feel for him. I feel for him a bit, because he's now ready for a world title. He could. I heard that the IBF have mandated that he fights Carlos Takam to be the #1 spot for the IBF for Charles Martin's title. in theory, that sounds fine, but Carlos Takam's the head of Carlos Takam's a sparring partner I've had him over for 2 months. The guy's like, I used him before I fought Chisora, and I'd say he's bigger, heavier, stronger, better punch variety, better puncher, and got a better chin than Chisora. He's like a 3 times better version of Chisora. I'm not sure whether that's the right approach for him just yet, because the pressure that it will get put on with Carlos Takam will be like no other pressure he's ever had before. So is that the route you're going to go down, or is he going to go fight? I've looked in the WBO rankings today, and him and Joseph Parker are next to each other. Is he going to fight him for the final eliminator? All of these fights are tough fights. He's got no easy fights now. He's got no easy fights out there for him. All the fights he can take now are going to be fights that he could potentially lose. So in my opinion, if you're going to take a fight that you might lose, why not take the biggest fight in the world? And if you lose, at least you've got a load of dough. At least you can always come back from that. Whereas if you lose against someone you've never heard of, hypothetically, if he fights Carlos Takam and loses to Carlos Takam, then what? His value plummets. Doesn't make any money because no one's really doesn't know who Carlos Takam is. I don't know. So I do feel for him, because he's like hiding out. What does he do? He's a pay-per-view fighter now. He has to fight big names, but the big names come with danger, you know. So, but he's an Olympic gold medalist. He can adapt. He learned his whole amateur career in a very short period of time, so he can adapt. He's proved he can adapt. A world champion silver medal, Olympic gold medal. He can prove he can adapt, and he's an amazing athlete. Just look at him. You can see he can do it. He could probably start playing basketball and make it to the NBA in 3 years. You know, he's that type of person. So hopefully he can, whoever he fights. Apparently now it's not Chisora. I'd love for it to.
Chisora's categorically ruled himself out of the fight. He's got EBU
that
Kubrat,
for me.
Pulev, so
I tell you what, I'll do a bit of matchmaking for you now.
Go on.
My first, if I was Dillian White's management, I would have went for Chisora first. But apparently Chisora asked for £3 million or something like, or £2.5 million, which ain't gonna happen. So he priced himself out. Okay, what's the guy's name? The Cuban southpaw, the one who got knocked out by Alexander Povetkin, Perez. Okay. Mike Perez. Mike Perez, good record, good amateur pedigree, but the guy got knocked spark out in 1 round by Povetkin. I think Povetkin and what's his name, and Joshua punch about the same way. I reckon he'll knock out Mike Perez. So I think that would be it's a good step up. The guy's fought at world level, fought for world titles. I think that could be a nice. What
about someone like Bermain Stavern? Do you think he'd be on the radar?
No, I wouldn't put him in with Stavern. In actual fact, Stavern's got a good chin on him. Stavern's got a very, very good chin, and he'll keep the pressure on. He doesn't let his hands go that much. But he knocked out Chris Arreola. Maybe Chris Arreola, that could be a good fight. He stands up tall, gets hit all day. That'd be another one. So I'd say in order: Mike Perez, Arreola, Chisora, but he's not around. Who else is there? Is anyone in England? Any other good domestic guys?
We've got some young sort of fighters coming up, but they're a little bit away from that level at the moment. The likes of sort of Dave Allen. Hughie Fury's a great fighter coming up. No one's very reluctant to mention his name, I find.
Why is that? I've never seen him fight. I don't know what he's like.
I ask myself the same question. He's a heavyweight. He's sort of 17-0, 21
17-0?
years old. Yeah, he's a good fighter.
I ain't heard of him. He should be. I thought he'd be making some noise. Yeah, fights like that. Domestic shows 17-0. Yeah. I didn't even know there was a. I knew he had a. Is his cousin? Is his cousin, right?
It is, yeah.
He's okay. That's right. Yeah, I remember.
His trainer Peter Fury is his son. Yeah.
Why aren't they banging on about that fight?
That's what I was thinking. A good fight.
It'd be cheap. Won't be expensive. The only thing about getting these big guys, Arreola, they're used to getting paid good money. So.
Luis Ortiz, do you think he could be a potential opponent?
Yeah, the one who just knocked out King Brian Jennings. Yeah, he's the interim champion, and he's waiting out to fight the winner of Tyson Fury and Klitschko. So he's got that one. Yeah, I think he'll be around. He looks good. I saw that knockout. You know, Jennings lost. Who did Jennings lose to? He lost to Klitschko on points. Look at he boxed well there. Yeah, I think that was a nice win for Ortiz. He'll be around for a while. He got busted though for a couple of times, didn't he? He got busted.
What about Brian Jennings as well? Do you think some of the Brits could sort of get him in the mix?
Nah, he's just how long ago did he get knocked out? Just recent.
Not long ago, quite recent.
Yeah, but he went out on his feet. Went out on his feet, and he gave it a good go. So yeah, Jennings might be okay. Very tight guard, walks through, and he's quite new to boxing as well. He ain't been boxing. He's probably been boxing a lot less time than Joshua has. So that might be a good fight for him. But he's just coming off. It's hard to fight somebody who's coming off a knockout, or at least get him a one win beforehand. Nothing worse than someone's been knocked out in the last fight, then you fight him straight away. It's not really that great of a look.
Well, listen. On that note, I really do appreciate you giving me some of your time.
I've really been waffling. I've really been waffling with you now. Just talking all kinds of potential fights down the line. But boxing's in a healthy place at the moment. You guys are doing a great job.
Thank you, mate. We appreciate obviously you noticing and giving us this time. One thing that you've supported us right from the start.
From the get-go, yes. You know, I recognise talent. I recognise talent, and you guys have got abundance of it. So
I don't quite know about that, sir, but we do appreciate.
It's the way you hold that. It's the way you hold it there like that and just trembling.
Yeah. We do appreciate you humouring us anyway. So.
No problem. It's all fun and games. But anyway, May 21st.
Yes.
May 21st, O2 Arena. Get your tickets before they've gone. You can wait until my opponent's announced, but by then the tickets probably be all gone. So I'll leave it up to you. It's up to you. It's going to be fun. Great. Undercard's going to be great as well. We're looking at some big fights in the undercard, so that's going to be fun as well. It's going to be a bigger, better heyday this time. Everyone's going to be bigger and better, and we're going to keep rocking it.
How many you got planned?
Ooh, I've got lots planned. I want to fight. I want to fight as regular as possible. You know, the May 21st. Was the first date the O2 had, first Saturday night the O2 had available from my fight. So if they had one 2 months, if they had one in 6 weeks, I'd have took that. You know,
if we get to heyday 33, I'm going to be happy.
We will do. I don't know about 33. I don't know about 33. maybe heyday 6. Maybe. Never know. As long as they're regular, as long as I'm getting in the ring, working with Shane McGuigan, training hard here. You know, we've got a great team, great promotion, great bunch of guys here, and everyone's having fun and enjoying it. And I'm healthy, which is the main thing.
Well, I've got to go because I won't be healthy. Your PR lady looks like she's going to hit me.
No.
So thank you ever so much for
No
your time,
problem.
sir.
I had a bet that I'd drag it on over 20 minutes. What time is it now?
20, probably about 23 minutes.
I won the bet. I won the bet. Sorry about people watching this at home. I was really purposely dragging it out because I had a bet I'd go. He had 5 minutes and I bet I could go over 20 minutes and I'd done it. Yeah, so the champion again.
See you fight week, mate. Thanks for your time.
Nice one,
Cheers, Jay.